Welcome, everyone, to the very first deep dive from us here at 360 Monto. We are absolutely buzzing. Really been counting down the days to finally share some of what we've learned, exploring every corner of incredible Montenegro over the years.
That's so true. For years now, through 360 Monty, we've just had the immense pleasure of guiding, tens of thousands of travelers
Yeah.
through this stunning country.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
And we're just so thrilled to connect with you in this new way, offering like a direct line to the insights and those little details that really bring Montenegro to life.
Think of it as tapping into all that on-the-ground experience we've built up.
Exactly. All those years.
Exactly. And for this inaugural deep dive, our very first one, we thought we'd tackle a question that might seem straightforward, but it really unlocks so much about Montenegro. Where exactly is it? Now, you might have a general idea, but this gem in southeastern Europe often flies a bit under the radar. Yet, trust us, it's rapidly becoming a go-to Mediterranean destination for all sorts of travelers.
It really is. And its location, it's absolutely fundamental to its unique appeal. It's the key.
Precisely. Montenegro's position on the map isn't just a geographical fact. It's the key, like you said, to understanding its incredible diversity and why it captivates so many people.
And as we delve into this, where you'll see how it naturally leads us to explore so much more, right?
Absolutely. Things like its surprisingly compact size, its ongoing relationship with the European Union.
Which is a big question people have.
Always. The best times to experience its different charms, how to actually get there, and even, a taste of its rich culture. It all kind of stems from that foundational location.
And with all our years of 360 Manta, we've seen firsthand how intricately it all connects. It's fascinating.
We certainly have. So perhaps the most logical starting point is to just paint a clear geographical picture. Montenegro's place on the map of Europe.
Okay, so geographically speaking, Montenegro is nestled right in southeastern Europe, specifically on what's known as the Western Balkan Peninsula.
Okay, southeastern Europe, Western Balkans. So it's surrounded by a really interesting and dynamic mix of cultures and landscapes then. You've got Croatia to its west.
Then Bosnia and Herzegovina to the northwest, Serbia sits to the northeast, Kosovo's to the east, and then Albania down to the southeast. It's quite a neighborhood.
Wow, yeah. Each with its own distinct character.
Definitely.
It really is. And of course, we can't overlook its stunning southwestern edge.
The Adriatic Sea and that breathtaking coastline. It's a major, major draw for visitors. And with good reason, the beauty is just undeniable.
Definitely. Strategically, it occupies such a fascinating spot, too, doesn't it? Almost like a natural bridge connecting Central Europe and the Mediterranean world.
Yes, exactly. You look across the Adriatic, and there's Italy right there. It truly feels like a meeting point of different regions and influences.
Which actually brings us neatly to a viewpoint that perfectly encapsulates the strategic position and just the sheer beauty of Montenegro's surroundings. We should talk about the view from the mausoleum.
Oh, absolutely. That panoramic vista is something we consistently recommend to anyone visiting. It's a must-do.
It's more than just a pretty view, though, isn't it? It's a real experience.
It really is. You make your way up to the mausoleum, and yes, you should be prepared for those 461 steps.
Ha! Good heads up.
But what awaits you at the top is simply unforgettable.
Unforgettable is the perfect word. From that vantage point, you get this incredible sweep, just a vast panorama. And here's the truly remarkable part. On a clear day, you can actually see all of Montenegro's neighboring countries laid out before you.
Amazing.
Imagine that Croatia and Bosnia off to the northwest, Serbia and Kosovo to the northeast, Albania down southeast, and even like a faint shimmer on the horizon.
That shimmer being the Italian coastline right across the Adriatic.
Mhm.
Standing there really gives you such a profound sense of Montenegro's place in the region. It clicks.
Absolutely. Bring your camera, obviously.
Definitely. As we always tell our travelers with 360 Monte, no photograph can truly capture the feeling of standing there, taking in that immense view. You just have to experience it.
So true. And just to give you a sense, this is just one of countless breathtaking viewpoints Montenegro has to offer. We'll definitely have to delve into more of those in future deep dives.
For sure.
So, okay, we have a broad sense of where Montenegro is located, but what about its size? How big is this captivating country, actually?
That's a great question. Montenegro covers an area of 13,812 square kilometers.
Okay, 13,812 square kilometers. To give our listeners a sense of scale, what would that be comparable to maybe in the U.S.?
It's a bit smaller than the U.S. state of Connecticut.
Smaller than Connecticut.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. But here's where its small size becomes incredibly significant, right? Montenegro manages to pack an astonishing amount of diversity into that relatively compact area.
Absolutely. I mean, consider this.
Huh.
You could literally be swimming in the warm Adriatic Sea in the morning. And then, within just a couple of hours' drive, find yourself skiing on alpine peaks up in the north.
Wow. That's a pretty remarkable contrast within such a short distance.
It really is unique. And it's not just about the activities either. This small country is home to 5 distinct national parks, each protecting incredibly diverse and stunning natural landscapes.
5 national parks. That's impressive for the size.
Exactly. And technically, you could drive the entire length of the country from north to south in under 5 hours, technically being the operative word there.
Yes. Because that assumes you wouldn't be constantly pulling over to, gawk at the scenery and take another photo, which, let's be honest, is virtually impossible.
Which leads us to a classic bit of advice from our years at 360 Monty, doesn't it?
It does. Don't rush your journey through Montenegro. Its beauty truly unfolds at its own pace. It's a place to be savored, not rushed.
Yes, exactly. Those winding roads, the unexpected vistas that appear around every single bend, it's all part of the magic. So while it might be small in size, it's certainly not small in impact.
Not at all. And, in a way, Montenegro feels like more than just a dot on a map. It's almost a feeling, a very unique blend of influences.
How do you mean, like a feeling?
Well, it genuinely stands as this crossroads where Eastern and Western cultures have mingled for centuries. You see it so clearly in the architecture, don't you?
Absolutely. You might stumble upon these impressive Venetian fortresses standing near elegant Austro-Hungarian buildings, and then perhaps an ancient Ottoman bridge spans a nearby river,
Right.
with a serene Orthodox monastery nestled in the hills just beyond. It's this fascinating layering of history and culture, and this rich tapestry of influences is also reflected in its geography, I think.
Oh, for sure. You can transition scenes incredibly quickly. Like, you could be enjoying a coffee in a bustling coastal cafe in Budva,
Right, very Mediterranean vibe.
and then just a short drive later, find yourself in a quiet mountain village being offered homemade rakia, the local fruit brandy.
Or you could spend the morning exploring the stunning Lake Skidar.
Beautiful Lake Skidar, one of the largest in Europe, right?
Exactly. And then before sunset, you could be touring a local vineyard, sampling Montenegrin wines with a view of, say, ancient fortifications. It's that incredible accessibility to such diverse experiences within a small area that makes it so special.
It really does. Okay, shifting gears slightly to a question we get asked frequently, especially by those planning their travels. Let me guess. Is it in the EU?
You nailed it. Is Montenegro a member of the European Union?
Okay, this is an important point to clarify. Currently, Montenegro is not yet a member of the EU. However, and this is key, it has been an official candidate country since 2012,
Right.
and it's actively engaged in accession talks, which is basically a process of aligning its laws and policies with the EU's. It can take several years.
Right. But there's a very practical benefit for travelers right now, even though it's not fully in, that's related to its EU aspirations.
Yes, absolutely. Montenegro already uses the euro as its official currency.
Which is huge.
It makes things incredibly convenient if you're visiting from a Eurozone country, no need to worry about exchanging currency. That's a significant plus for many people.
Okay, but it's important to clarify a few other practical details for you as a traveler regarding its EU status, or rather, lack thereof.
Right. Just because they use the euro doesn't automatically mean they're part of all EU agreements. That's a key distinction to make.
So what does this mean for you practically? Well, Montenegro is not currently part of the Schengen area.
Okay.
This means standard border checks are still in place when you enter and exit the country. You'll need to have your passport checked, go through the usual process.
Got it. And what about staying connected? Phones, internet, always a concern for travelers.
Good point. Your EU roaming plan might not automatically extend to Montenegro, or if it does, it could be quite expensive. So it's definitely worth checking with your mobile provider before your trip to avoid any nasty surprise charges.
Okay, good heads up. What about crossing borders with neighboring countries? Any specific things there?
Yes, just be aware that border crossing times can vary, particularly when you're entering Croatia or Bosnia and Herzegovina or Albania, especially during the peak tourist season like July and August.
Right. Plan for potential delays.
Exactly. But there's a really smart and Very cost-effective solution for the phone situation, isn't there?
Absolutely. Getting a local SIM card is incredibly easy and very, very affordable.
How affordable are we talking generally?
You can often get a SIM card with a huge amount of data, sometimes even up to like 500 gigabytes for around 15 euros. It's fantastic value.
Wow. 500 gigs for 15 euros. That's amazing. Which leads us to another practical tip from our experience at 360 Monte.
Definitely. Grab a local SIM card when you arrive. You can usually find them right at the airport or in most towns. It's generally much, much cheaper than relying on international roaming. Easy win.
Makes perfect sense. Okay, so we know roughly where it is, how big it is, its EU status. Now, when is the best time for you to actually visit Montenegro?
Ugh. Another excellent question, and one that truly depends on the kind of experience you're hoping for. Montenegro offers quite different vibes depending on the season.
It really does. Let's start with peak season summer. June, July, August.
Peak season, yeah, generally June through August. Think hot, sunny weather, vibrant energy, bustling coastal areas. The beaches are lively, lots of festivals and events happening.
Sounds busy, though.
It is. If you're planning to visit during these months, booking your accommodation well in advance is absolutely essential. Things fill up fast.
Okay. What about the shoulder seasons, maybe spring and autumn?
May and September are often considered the sweet spot. The weather is usually wonderfully warm and pleasant for exploring, but with significantly fewer crowds than in the summer months.
Nice. Sounds ideal for maybe hiking and sightseeing,
Mm.
or enjoying the coast without that intense summer heat.
Exactly. Perfect balance, many find. And then there's the off-season, sort of November through April.
The off-season has a really unique charm, I think. Coastal towns like, say, Perast become incredibly peaceful and almost atmospheric. Larger towns like Kotor still have a local buzz, but a much more relaxed pace.
Yeah, it can be a great time for a more introspective trip, maybe. And you'll often find more budget-friendly options for accommodation, too.
True. And let's not forget the winter months for those who enjoy snow.
Absolutely. Winter, particularly from December to March, can be surprisingly appealing, especially up in the northern regions. Towns like Kološin.
A popular ski resort.
Exactly. And Ypsrak in Dermitor National Park, they transform into winter sports hubs, offering skiing and snowboarding opportunities.
So it really boils down to what you're looking for in your trip. And drawing on our experience at 360 Monte, we have a little insight to share here, right?
We do. Our 360 Monty insight is to really consider what kind of atmosphere and activities you're prioritizing. If it's vibrant nightlife and a really lively beach scene you're after, then summer is likely your best bet.
But if you prefer a more relaxed pace, fewer tourists, and potentially better deals on accommodations.
Then the shoulder seasons, late spring or early autumn, are probably perfect for you. It truly depends on your personal travel style and preferences. No single right answer.
Makes sense. Okay, so you've decided when to go. How do you actually get to Montenegro? Is it easy to reach these days?
You might be pleasantly surprised. It's becoming increasingly well-connected and actually quite accessible.
Definitely. Flying is the primary way for most international visitors.
Right.
There are two main international airports, Podgorica Airport, which is near the capital,
TGD.
and Tivat Airport, TIV, which is super convenient if you're heading to the coast or the Bay of Kotor area. And the number of direct flights really ramps up during the summer.
Yes, especially in the peak season. We're talking about, around 90 direct routes from major European cities. It's quite a lot.
Wow, that's significant connectivity. What about driving for those who maybe enjoy a road trip or are exploring the region?
Driving is a fantastic option for exploring Montenegro and the wider Balkans. It offers a ton of flexibility. And as we mentioned, you can technically cross the country fairly quickly, under 5 hours north to south.
Technically.
The road network connects most major towns. Just, be prepared for some winding mountain roads. They're scenic, but require attention.
Those can be quite an adventure in themselves. Beautiful, but twisty.
They can. And definitely factor in extra time for stops to admire those incredible views. You'll want to stop a lot.
Good advice.
Huh.
What about budget-friendly options like buses? Are they viable?
Buses are reliable and definitely affordable. They're a great way to travel within Montenegro and also to neighboring countries. There are frequent routes between key locations like Podgorica, Budva, Kotor, and so on.
Okay. And we have a little practical tip for bus travel based on our 360 Monte experience, don't we?
We do. If you book your bus tickets online, which is often possible now, make sure you print them out. Some local bus companies still prefer paper tickets. It's just a good little thing to be aware of to avoid hassle.
Simple but useful tip. And what about arriving by cruise ship? That's become quite popular.
Yes, Montenegro, particularly Kotor, has become a very popular stop on Mediterranean cruise itineraries. The approach to the port of Kotor, I mean, nestled within those dramatic fjord-like mountains. It's truly spectacular.
Unforgettable entrance. There's also the Port of Bar, further south, which receives some cruise ships as well. Now, if you're arriving on a cruise, your time in port is often limited, right?
Yeah.
So our advice.
Yeah, because cruise stops can be quite short, sometimes just a day or less. To really maximize your time and see more than just the immediate port area, we highly recommend considering booking a private tour in advance. You might want to check out some of the short private tours and excursions offered by 360 Montenegro. They can be a perfect way to experience some key highlights within your limited time frame, tailored to you.
Absolutely. Okay, so you've arrived in Montenegro. How easy is it to get around within the country using public transport?
Public transport within Montenegro. It has its own unique character, shall we say.
Huh. That sounds intriguing. What do you mean?
Well, the buses do work reasonably well for traveling between the major cities and towns, connecting places like Podgorica, Budva, Kotor along the coast and inland. That's generally straightforward.
Okay.
But if you're hoping to venture off the beaten path, into the national parks or those smaller mountain villages.
Right. If you want to explore those areas properly, maybe visit hidden lakes or more remote spots, then renting a car or joining an organized tour is definitely the most practical option.
For sure, public transport to those areas can be less frequent, less convenient.
Exactly. You can end up spending a lot of time waiting for infrequent buses or trying to figure out complex connections. Better to have your own wheels or a planned tour for that. What about trains? Is there much of a railway network?
There are some train lines. The most well-known scenic route is the one from Bar on the coast all the way up to Belgrade in Serbia. It's supposed to be absolutely breathtaking.
It truly is. Incredible views as it winds through the mountains of northern Montenegro. There's also a shorter but still interesting line from Nikšić to Podgorica.
Oh, yes. That's about an hour-long journey, I think. Takes you through the Bilipovlichi Plain and even passes right underneath the stunning Ostrog Monastery, which is perched high on that cliff face.
Definitely worth considering just for the experience, even if it's a short ride.
Absolutely. And we have a little story, kind of a lesson we learned firsthand about transport planning in Montenegro, don't we? Regarding remote areas.
We do. If you're planning to visit somewhere truly remote and spectacular like Proklete National Park, those are the Accursed Mountains. Amazing place.
Incredible.
Make absolutely sure you figure out your transportation well in advance. Research how you'll get there and back. Proklete is stunning, but you don't want logistical challenges to spoil your experience. Plan ahead for the wilder spots.
Solid advice. Okay, so you've arrived, you're navigating around. What about the people? What can visitors generally expect from Montenegrins?
Well, based on our many, many years of experience with 360 Montenegrins and interacting with countless Montenegrins, we've consistently found them to be incredibly warm, genuinely sincere, and quite direct in their communication.
Direct. In what way? Not rude, but...
No, not rude at all. They just tend to be less inclined towards small talk sometimes. But don't mistake that for being unfriendly. It's often just a very straightforward, honest way of interacting. Less fluff, maybe.
Right. Got it. And the hospitality, we hear a lot about Balkan hospitality.
Oh, the genuine hospitality is immense, especially if you venture into smaller villages or stay in family-run accommodations, guest houses, that sort of thing. People are generally very welcoming and really proud to share their culture with visitors.
That's lovely.
And those casual invitations you might receive perhaps to come back and visit their family or have a coffee, they're often very sincere. They truly seem to appreciate visitors who show a genuine interest in their country and culture.
That's great to hear. And I imagine learning a few basic phrases goes a long way, like anywhere.
Absolutely. Just knowing a few simple words like Fala for thank you and Dobar Dan for good day will be very warmly received. Politeness is definitely appreciated, and any effort is noticed.
Great tip. Fala. Okay, moving on to perhaps one of my favorite aspects of travel, the food.
Ah, yes, the cuisine of Montenegro. What can visitors expect to savor? It's often a surprise highlight for people.
Okay, honestly, the food is often a real highlight. It frequently exceeds people's expectations. We consistently get fantastic feedback from our 360 Monte travelers about the culinary experiences. It's just a wonderful reflection of Montenegro's geographical and cultural crossroads.
Totally. So along the coast, what are some of the must-try dishes? Seafood, presumably.
Oh, the incredibly fresh seafood is an absolute must. Think delicious black risotto made with squid ink, perfectly grilled calamari, maybe some fresh fish caught that morning. Absolutely fantastic. Simple, fresh, delicious.
Makes my mouth water just thinking about it.
Yeah.
And what about inland, up in the mountains? What's the vibe there, food-wise?
The flavors shift towards heartier fare. You'll find traditional stews, flavorful local sausages, kajmak, that rich, creamy, clotted cream. It's amazing.
Oh, kajmak is divine.
And tender roast lamb, which is a real specialty in the mountains. And of course, be prepared to be offered homemade rakicha, the local fruit brandy. It's part of the welcome.
You can't visit the Balkans without encountering Rikija. It's practically mandatory.
What about vegetarian options? Is it challenging for vegetarians?
Traditionally, Montenegrin cuisine has been quite meat-heavy, that's true. However, vegetarian options are becoming increasingly common now, especially in the towns and in more modern cafes and restaurants. In larger places like Kotor, Budva, Podgorica, you'll definitely find good choices these days.
That's good to know. And speaking of Kotor, we have a specific restaurant recommendation, don't we? A place we like.
We do. If you find yourself in Kotor, be sure to check out Resto Bar Taraka. They serve some really excellent dishes, great local ingredients, and it has a lovely atmosphere kind of tucked away. Nice. And for discovering those truly authentic, traditional eateries, maybe the hidden gems, we have another tip from our 360 Monty experiences.
Yes. While online reviews can be helpful, often the best way to find a truly great local spot is simply to ask a local. Ask your guest house owner, someone working in a shop, get a personal recommendation. You'll almost always stumble upon a more authentic and memorable meal that way. Trust the locals.
Love that. Okay, we've talked about the stunning landscapes, the delicious food, but we all see those picture-perfect images on Instagram, right? How does the real experience of Montenegro compare to that curated online view?
That's such an important point. Montenegro is undeniably photogenic, incredibly Instagrammable for sure, but the true essence, the actual feeling of being there, goes so far beyond a static image.
What sort of feelings are we talking about? What makes it different?
Like standing on the ancient fortress walls as the sun dips below the horizon, painting the Bay of Kotor in these incredible colors. That feeling. Or being out on a boat trip surrounded by those towering mountains plunging right into the water. Or just the sense of accomplishment after a challenging hike in Dermitor National Park.
Yeah.
It's immersive, you know, it engages all your senses.
And there's an authenticity to it, isn't there? That feeling of discovering something still a little raw and untamed, not overly packaged.
Exactly, that sense of genuine discovery, finding hidden gems and experiencing something real around pretty much every corner. And there are so many specific sights and experiences that a photograph simply can't fully capture, right? The feeling just doesn't translate.
Oh, absolutely. That vast panoramic view from the mausoleum we talked about earlier,
Right.
pictures are nice, but being there,
Right.
wow, the challenge and reward of hiking to Prutab Peak in Dermitor, seeing those curved rock layers, the ethereal blue light inside the blue cave when you visit by boat,
Yep.
the sheer scale and grandeur of Dermitor National Park, you feel tiny in a good way. Or just the peacefulness of sailing out to Our Lady of the Rocks Island in the Bay of Kotor early in the morning. These are the experiences that truly stay with you long after the trip in a way that a photo just can't replicate.
I totally agree. Now, shifting gears slightly for our listeners who might be planning a larger Balkan adventure, perhaps combining Montenegro with visits to its neighbors, let's touch on being border savvy. Some practical stuff.
Yes, this is particularly important if you're planning a road trip, especially with a rental car. Let's start with visas, the entry requirements. Good news for most. Many nationalities, including those from the EU, UK, US, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, can enter Montenegro visa-free for stays of up to 90 days, which is fantastic, makes it easy.
Okay, that's straightforward for many. But what about rental cars and actually crossing borders?
Yeah.
Are there any potential issues to be aware of there?
Yes, this is crucial. Always check the specific policy of your rental car company regarding taking the vehicle across international borders. This is particularly relevant if you're thinking of going into countries like Kosovo or Albania.
Why specifically those?
Some agencies may not allow it at all for insurance or administrative reasons, or they might require specific additional paperwork, like a green card for insurance coverage outside Montenegro or the EU. You absolutely need to get permission beforehand. Don't just assume it's okay.
Okay, got it. Get explicit permission. And we've mentioned border wait times before, particularly when crossing into Croatia, maybe.
Yes, especially during the peak summer months, July and August mainly. Crossing into Croatia can involve potentially long queues.
Yeah.
Just factor this possibility into your travel plans, allow extra time.
Right. And that green card you mentioned, is that needed for other neighbors too?
Albania, for example, definitely requires it as proof of international car insurance if you plan to drive a rental vehicle there. Bosnia and Serbia generally don't require it if your car is registered in Montenegro or the EU. But honestly, it's always best to double-check the latest regulations and definitely confirm everything with your rental agreement. Rules can change.
Okay, so the absolute key takeaway, the 360 Monty tip here is...
Always confirm cross-border permissions and any necessary documents, like the green card, with your rental agency before you finalize your booking, and definitely before you attempt to cross any border. Clear communication up front can save you a lot of potential headaches down the road.
Sound advice. All right, finally, as we begin to wrap up our very first deep dive, let's do a quick essential packing guide. Drawing on our experience at 360 Monty, what are the must-haves we always recommend people bring?
Okay, essentials. First and foremost, seriously consider getting an eSIM for your phone if it supports it, or definitely purchasing that local SIM card we discussed upon arrival. It's just the most cost-effective way to stay connected.
Good call. Number 2.
Layers. Pack layers of clothing. The weather can change quite quickly, especially if you're planning to travel between the coast and the mountains in the same day, which many people do. Be prepared for temperature shifts.
Very true. Next.
Comfortable and sturdy walking shoes or hiking shoes. Even if you're not planning extensive hikes, you'll likely be doing a lot of walking on uneven surfaces, like cobblestones in old towns or trails in parks. Good footwear is key.
Good point about the shoes. What else is essential?
A reusable water bottle. Tap water is generally safe to drink in most areas, and it's much better for the environment than buying plastic bottles constantly.
Definitely.
A swimsuit is a must for those beautiful beaches and lakes you'll want to take a dip, and also a lightweight rain jacket. Unexpected showers can happen, even in the summer, especially in the mountains.
Okay, just a few more bits. Good to be prepared.
Sunglasses, sunscreen, and a hat. That Mediterranean sun can be quite strong even in the shoulder seasons, so protect yourself. And finally, some cash. While card payments are becoming more widespread, especially in tourist areas, it's still important to have some euros on hand, particularly in smaller towns, local markets, and more rural areas, maybe up in the north of Montenegro. Cash is still king sometimes.
Perfect. Great list. Well, that pretty much brings us to the end of our very first 360 Monty deep dive into the fascinating world of Montenegro.
It has.
Yep.
And we sincerely hope that you listening now have a much clearer understanding of where this incredible country is located and maybe a better appreciation for why its geographical position is so fundamental to its unique charm and its allure.
Montenegro truly has a way of surprising and delighting almost everyone who visits, doesn't it? It's that captivating blend, that raw natural beauty, the layers of rich history, and the genuinely welcoming people, all without feeling overly polished or commercialized, which I think is a huge part of its unforgettable character.
Definitely. Here at 360 Montenegro, our philosophy for experiencing Montenegro is actually quite simple.
Yep.
Come with curiosity. Bring a flexible plan. Don't overschedule and have an open heart. Be ready to embrace those unexpected moments. You know, a chance encounter with a local, a breathtaking view that pops up around a random corner, a quiet coffee, just watching the world go by in a charming local cafe. That's where the true magic lies, I think.
So we started by asking, where is Montenegro?
We did.
Yeah.
And we sincerely hope we've answered that question and perhaps sparked a little something more, maybe a desire to experience it for yourself.
Absolutely. Our real hope is that you're now inspired to see this incredible place firsthand. So now that we've covered the where, perhaps it's time to start thinking about the when and the how for your own trip.
Let's get you packing. Until our next deep dive, friends, keep on traveling.